Friends, good morning. Finally, coming to the concluding part of Sahaja Yoga is Scientific View, part 1 by 7, which relates to God, divinity, vibrations, and self realization. We once again welcome you to this presentation and try to conclude or understand how God, divinity, creation, evil, vibrations, self realization can be used, can be understood, and can be handled through self realization. As we have said before, God is both visible and invisible. Creation is also seen and unseen. Creation emerged from silence, which was the state of divinity or God or creator or Sahaja or Paramatma as silence. And in this, when a desire of God emerged as a event or a source of activity, this God's desire, defined as Adi Shakti, manifested as energy and consciousness, gave birth to various aspects in creation, both as Virata, the divine being, and microform, the human being. Kundalini Instrument, which is present both in Virata and human being, acts as a tool of evolution, and Sahaja Yoga takes advantage of this Kundalini instrument, awakening of Kundalini, for self-realization and knowing God and uniting with God. This is the Sahaja Yoga as a scientific process created by God Almighty as self-realization using Kundalini, nadis, and chakras, and make one capable of knowing good and evil and vanquish evil from daily life, including ailments, disease, etc. etc. We'll finally discuss this. We have so far discussed various parts from 1 to 6, and now we'll discuss it as Kundalini, Kundalini instrument, nadis and chakras, self-realization, and conclude. If we go back to the part 1, we discussed the origin and emergence of divinity as the form of Adi Shakti from silence. Silence, which is the state of Paramatma, Sadashiv, Mahakal, and who transformed from Paramatma to Sadashiva to Shivan Shakti to Adi Shakti. And this transformation from Sadashiva to Shivan Shakti and separation of Shivan Shakti gave birth to what was known as Big Bang in science and sound of Om in philosophy. Adi Shakti, which is primordial energy, which is the universal conscious energy, which is the mother of all that exists in the form of energy and consciousness, transformed into three aspects of quality known as Trikarnatmika Prakriti, as Mahalakshmi, Mahasaraswati, Mahakali, and its impact on matter, energy, and consciousness gave birth to three types of living gods, Rakshasas, and human beings, which have very well specific qualities and characteristics in existence. We further went on this. We studied or discussed the aspects of Big Bang or separation of Shiva from Shakti, which was seen as Om, expansion of energy, and finally creation of the four levels of existence as physical, which is like a human being and all other forms of beings, subtle, which is the inner aspects of the physical part, which is the mind, intellect, and subtle senses, the causal part, which is basically the chit or attention and consciousness and life force, and supercausal, which is basically Atma, Paramatma, and Prakriti. The impact of all four at lowest form of consciousness gave birth to space, energy, gases, solids, and liquids. And when life force acted or consciousness became active, gave birth to the life force or amoeba or cell, and then water-borne life, land-borne life, airborne life, higher forms of living, etc. in the creation, which we all have discussed in part 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 of Sahaja Yoga, the divine path as a scientific view. We also discussed about the Avatars, who basically represent the evolution of living forms. First, Seaborn, which was basically the Matsya Avatar. Then next stage as the Kurma Avatar. Then next stage as the Vara Avatar. The next form as the Nursing Avatar. Then Vaman Avatar. Then Parshuram, Shri Ram, Shri Krishna, Shri Christ or Buddha or Mahavir, and finally the Kalki. This was evolution of in divinity or in levels of consciousness within the livings, particularly in human beings, which is the highest living form. Important point to understand is all forms below human, that is the animal forms, live in control of Creator. It is only in human forms that the freedom is granted and we start playing with the good and evil and look for various aspects of divine play in the creation. To lead us in this process of our evolution or understanding or knowledge, the God transformed into the gurus, which started from the Adi Guru Dattatreya, then became Maharaj Janak, came to Moses, Abraham, Confucius, then Zoroaster, then Muhammad Sahib, then coming to Socrates, Lao Tse, Guru Nanak, Sainath, etc., and teachings of every guru gave birth to some form of living which emerged as a religion in the creation, and human beings evolved from one form to another, giving birth to creation in various aspects. It is with this aspect we have discussed in various forms, and finally we looked at it, the divinity in earth, matter and cell, atom, cell and this one, and looked at the aspect of consciousness as subconscious, unconscious, conscious and superconscious, which manifests as formed of living, and the tree of life or life forms from amoeba to human forms or Homo sapiens or now the human beings. On that, we also looked at divinity in Kundalini Instrument in human beings and how every cell in human body is connected to one aspect or another of the divinity, and our Kundalini Instrument is actually the instrument of divinity, which when enlightened on Kundalini awakening can be used as an instrument of evolution for vanquishing evil and understanding God, uniting with God and achieving yoga, etc. This evolution, transformation in energy and consciousness is a source of all that exists, and this can have both forms as positive or negative or good and evil, which affects every form of existence, but all these work through consciousness. Thus, divinity in human beings is a reflection of evolution as transformation of energy, and evolution as evolution in consciousness. This is both in the form of divine, which is the Virata or the universe, or the human being, the microcosm as human being, but all are integrated together through the instrument of Kundalini, the Kundalini, nadis and chakras, which make us a collective being, and we can communicate through nadi, chakras and various aspects of the human existence. It is this aspect of Kundalini instrument, nadi, chakras and their subtle aspects which makes the Kundalini instrument the instrument of evolution, and Sahaja as a divine path of human evolution from normal human being to superhuman being known as Sahaja. The path for this is Sahaja, which is a highly scientific, because the nadis are the nerves or the nervous system, left sympathetic, right sympathetic, parasympathetic, also known as Mahakali, Mahasaraswati, Mahalakshmi, and chakras which are known as plexuses. Pelvic plexus as Muladhara chakra, aortic plexus as Swadhisthana chakra, your coelic plexus as the Nabi chakra, our cardiac plexus is solar heart chakra or Arha chakra, Vishuddhi or cervical plexus as the Vishuddhi chakra, crossing of optical nerves as the Agya chakra, and corpus callosum or collection of nerves in the central part of the brain, as which is the union of left and right brain as Sahasrara. It is clearing negativity from the body, which always affects every living and non-living, clearing through the clearing of the nadis, that we achieve the stage for evolution to a yogi, and by awakening chakras we evolve our energy from Muladhara to Sahasrara, and with this stage of awakened Kundalini as living beings we become the instrument of divine activities or pure consciousness, and achieve union of Atma with Paramatma, which is the state of yoga through self-realization or Sahaja. Thus, every aspect of Sahaja is highly scientific, can be proved in laboratory, can be proved through radiations of the hand, which can be used for removing ailments, can be used for evolving human beings and become good Sahajogis. Therefore, the point to understand is God is initially as silence, emerges as Shiva and Shakti, as consciousness and primordial energy, and this expression gives birth to various forms of existence, and Kundalini, who is the reflection of Adi Shakti in living beings, when passes through nadis and chakras, and it makes us understand the manifestation of Shiva as Atma and consciousness in the human beings. It is this path that union through self-realization we can achieve yoga or union of Atma with Paramatma and become the instrument of divine progress or evolution. God bless all. Thank you very much.